Thanks to the support as a channel member, Jack Edinburgh. Our adventure in the World Cup continues today, boys and girls. At the very least, we have the second round against Morocco. If we can get past that, it's a third round tie against Colombia, who Christian Gomez plays for. Hello and welcome to part 2 of my England World Cup series at the end of the Bourne series. It doesn't have a name, but might have got a name before the videos released. It's getting catchier. I'm Kev. Coming up on today's episode, we have those, well, at least one game. We're playing Morocco. If we beat them, we'll play Colombia too. As you'll know from yesterday's video, we relatively comfortably made our way through our group in the end. I don't know how the World Cup works in the future because El Salvador, despite us beating them 8-0, did get through to the second round. So, unbelievably, you get a 3-team group and 2 teams qualify. This seems ridiculous. But they then got beaten 5-0 by Italy as well. So they've conceded some goals in this tournament, but did manage to beat Iran, who we struggled to get past. But today, it's all about Morocco. This is the team we're putting out there to face them. As you can tell by my sweaty demeanour, it's still ridiculously hot as I record this in advance in the middle of a heat wave. So I'm simulating hot World Cup conditions, even though the World Cup is only in Germany. My word, is it warm where I am. So in goal, we've got Bevans, back four of Wilson, Shelley, Barrett and Frost. Bruce at the base of the midfield, Linda and Diallo ahead of him, and then Cook, Daniel and Newell are our front three. We've got to win. We've got to win the World Cup. We are ranked number 1 in the world. We've been ranked number 1 in the world for several years, but we haven't actually won the World Cup itself for 76 years. And it does feel like it'll be one of the great missed opportunities in world football. It's like your Dutch team of the 80s, that kind of level of, how on earth did that team never win a World Cup? Because this England team has been so dominant for so long. We've won something like 25, somewhere between 25 and 30 consecutive international games across all multiple tournaments. We've won the last 2 Euros. We've won the Nations League. We just need to win a World Cup as well. And Jonathan Frost is getting us off to an excellent start here against Morocco. 1-0 up after 3 minutes. I guess this is what you get from a Real Madrid right back. It is a lovely finish. One touch. And then that's Dombrowski-esque, the way he's done that. Beautiful stuff. If you don't know who Dombrowski is, you should go back and rewatch Non-League to Legend while you're waiting for the new series to begin on Monday. 4 o'clock, Monday. The adventure with Chivas in Mexico begins. I can't remember the Spanish version of the name of the series. It's something like El Director Deportivo. Something like that. It might not be El. I think it is. Translate it to English, you'll know what kind of save it is. I already told you the other day. I don't know why I'm being secretive. I know I get secretive like this on stream about it. There's no reason to be this secretive. It's a director of football save in Mexico with a team that can only sign Mexican players. It's going to be an absolute mess, and we're finally going to learn out if I can do A, youth development of players who are already at the club, and B, tactics, because they're pretty much the only 2 things I'm going to have any control over. Frost has now picked up an injury. We're just going to take him off. We're just going to constantly be on the safe side, especially when it's one of our better players like Frost is. If we are going to go deep in this World Cup, there's many games still to play yet because of this silly extended version. Although I guess we played 1 fewer group game. This is almost like a final group game rather than a actual knockout game. But it is a knockout game. If we lose it, we're knocked out. But there's still a third round, quarter-final, semi-final, and final/third place playoff. So if we're going to win it, there's still another 5 games to play after this one. Is that maths right? Final, semi-final, quarter-final, third. There's 4 games to play after this one if we're going to win the thing. So we need to protect our better players because the games start to come thick and fast from here. This is only our 3rd game in 2.5 weeks of the World Cup going on at the moment. So we've had a relatively light schedule, but it does start to pick up pace a little bit from here. And there is Steve Newell with his first goal of the tournament, I think. 2nd goal today for England. It's something ridiculous like his 120th goal for England. The man is absurd, but it's nice to see him get off the mark for the top scorer for the World Cup Golden Boot competition, who I believe Domenico is currently leaving, of course, of Bourne and Portugal fame. And Portugal are definitely a team that we need to keep an eye on. I think Portugal won the last World Cup, and they were the team that beat us in the Nations League last summer? I feel like they were, although albeit only on penalties, because we've won on a consecutive winning game run thing. I know what I mean. And we need to win. I'm now thinking, did we win the Nations League? We must have done. I've got my confusion where I've managed England in both the home save and this save at the same time. Did we win the Nations League with this version of England? Stop doing too many saves at one time, Kev. Did we win it? We did win it, so we didn't lose to Portugal. Right, I now need to check if I'm insane when I'm talking about Portugal. World Cup holders are Portugal. Right, so Portugal are good. I'm mixing my information from two different saves. I'm never going to manage England at the same time in two different saves ever again, because it's broken my mind having to do this. I can't remember who's good for which England team. They're both in the future, so there's hardly any real players left in either of them. There's none left in this one. The home version, there's hardly anyone left in either. I think it's basically Sancho, Foden, and Hudson-Odoi are my only options for players I've actually heard of. It's a mess. It's all a mess. Right, Cook forces the save out of the Moroccan goalkeeper. It is reassuring to see that we are just utterly dominating Monaco in a way that we didn't against Iran. I know we scored a lot of goals against El Salvador, but that game against Iran yesterday did worry me a little bit because of how much like hard work it was. But we were just about edging possession. But more important than possession is the fact that we've absolutely dominated everything else. 22 shots to their 2. 3 clear-cut chances, I think it was last time I looked. So we're doing the business. We're doing what needs to be done. Cook's going to come off for Collier, and I'm also going to bring on George Gray for Daniel, and hopefully just see the game out. Let's drop a little bit of praise. We are the final round 2 game to be played, I think, which, again, is a bit of an odd one. We've had such a long gap without a game because we had our group wrapped up 10 days ago, and then we've just kind of been hanging around in Germany. I wouldn't be surprised if we came home. I would have come home, have 3 days at home, then come back and start the camp up again. That's probably a bad idea, but I imagine there's been a lot of snooker, a lot of golf, and a lot of FIFA played in our team hotel while we've been waiting for this match, and we just seem to be playing rather efficiently, which is good. Collier, the other Bourne left winger in the squad, who never played for Bourne while I was there, but has since signed for Bourne, has made it 3-0 and put the game out of question at this point. Now we just need to drop down to a balanced mentality and just ease off, because we've got tournament fitness levels to manage. Why can't I find the tactics button? Tempo's already pretty low. Let's just lower it down even further and just slow ourselves down, nice and slow, maintain fitness levels. Let's not do anything stupid that could hurt us in any way, and just be ready for Colombia, who Christian Gomez doesn't start for. But if I've learned anything about how much Football Manager likes to punish me over the years, I'm fairly confident the last thing we'll ever see happening in this series is Christian Gomez coming off the bench for Colombia, scoring the goal that knocks England out of the World Cup, gets me sacked and ends the series. And oh my word, can I already see the comments section on this video if that happens. You lot will ruin me. Right, we've lost 2 right backs today. That's not ideal. We do have multiple centre backs who can play right back, but it's not exactly the same. I hope Frost wasn't too badly injured. Makes it worthwhile taking him off as early as we did if we've potentially lost Radmore for the rest of the tournament, as he's gone off red injured. There's Newell with his second of the game as he looks to continue pushing towards the Golden Boot. He'll probably be a little bit disappointed he didn't get to play against El Salvador and start banging in plenty of goals there. But at 4-0, this is, I mean, it was job done at 3-0. It's definitely job done at 4-0. Good job. And now I'm certain it's Colombia. I think they were already through. We'll just double check. It will tell us now. If we go on to the inbox, Radmore he's torn his hamstring, so that is him done. Frost has bruised ribs, so he should be okay. There you go. It's not something that will rule him out for the World Cup. So Frost is fine, but Radmore's done. He's going home. he is finished. Do players go home when they get injured in the World Cup, or will he just hang around the hotel now? I imagine he'll hang around the hotel to stay as part of the team. Right, it is Colombia. Colombia coming up now. Here we go then. Colombia game, just a one change. Nixon Burke coming in for Shelley, who's suspended. Obviously, Radmore is out of contention, but Frost is fit enough to play after picking up the injury in the last game. We are the last third round tie to be played as well. It seems to be, I guess that's just the way our group draw was. We're always going to be in the latter half of a play sequence, a round, whatever you might want to call it. Right, no Gomez starting for Colombia. There he is on the bench with the number 10 shirt on his back. Arango does start though, and interestingly, Bonilla plays at centre-back, which does make me think maybe we need to be aerial attacking from the corners and stuff, because Bonilla, as we know, he's a little bit little, and I was always a little bit loath to play him at centre-back for Bourne, although there were many times over the years when we had Diaz or Da Silva unavailable where Quick Pick would try and force me to play Bonilla at centre-back rather than Nixon Burke, which I had to avoid and ignore on many occasions. But there is Daniel to put us 1-0 up after 5 minutes. Is it Bonilla who loses out to the aerial battle? The long throws come in, and Bonilla is somewhere. There's Bonilla, so he's not involved. We can't blame him. He was one of our best players for the last couple of years of the save, so I can't pick on him too much, but I do want us to bully him today and get us through to the World Cup quarter-final. Barrett with a long throw from this side. Cook is there, and I think Lind is probably offside and didn't need to touch it at all. It's going in from Cook. He's learnt that trick from Sir Mitar Sernajaki over the years, who, by the way, is also among the top scorers at this World Cup. But just let Cook's header go in. No reason to touch it. Very, very silly. It's good to see the long throw works in the World Cup, though. Cook with the in-swinger from the corner. It's all set pieces from England so far. We're being a proper English football cliche. And now Chris Barrett is injured. So that's both of our starting centre-backs. Shelley will be back because he's suspended. But we're probably going to have to take that fella off for the... might have to take him off sooner than half-time. We'll see how he gets on. We'll monitor his fitness levels. Wilson to Bruce, who's just hovering in that Bonilla role as the deep line playmaker. What I would swap him for Bonilla in a heartbeat. It would be lovely to have a proper player like that for England. It's one thing we just don't have in the squad, but we kind of need one to play the way I want to play, so we're forcing Bruce into play in there. Frost with a poor attempt at a tackle there, and Bevans has done very, very well to make the save from point-blank range, but that was a good chance for Colombia, and this isn't a foregone conclusion. This isn't over and done yet. Although we have had 73% of the possession, which is a bit of a turnaround from how previous games have been. But then we are only 18 minutes on the clock, so we don't know how things are going to settle out as we get deeper into the game. Right, what is wrong with Barrett? It's a potential groin injury. If he drops below 70% condition, I think we'll probably have to look to take him off. Probably don't have him launching long throws into the area. Although Diallo's picked this one up and scores. And the long throws have been so dangerous today. They've been so controversial throughout the Bourne series. They were so good for so long, and then they cost us so many goals that we kind of stopped using them. We've brought them back with England, and they seem to be doing the business. Their goalkeeper wants to have a word with himself there. He gets absolutely nowhere near it. And it's 2-0 now, half hour on the clock. Still 64% possession. Colombia have only had the one shot. That one that was so difficult for our keeper to save, but he did make the save. And there is Barrett. Groin or no groin, that is an absolute thundering header. I'm surprised he hasn't snapped the crossbar in half there. And I think he's probably earned the right to sit out the second half now. He might have to sit out the rest of the tournament, but if that's his final contribution to this World Cup, he certainly looked like he meant it. He's playing like a man who knows he's going home. But if he can do that with a bad groin, surely he can just nurse it through the rest of the tournament. Newell now trying to turn a long throw in. If we'd have scored 3 long throws in the first half, there'd have to be a steward's inquiry. Colombia just don't seem to be able to cope with it at all, which is bizarre when 2 of their 4 defenders have been with me at Bourne for years and know exactly how this long throw works because they've been a part of it. Arango takes them sometimes, but they just don't seem to have any kind of counter to it, which I am not going to be upset about that at all. Don't get complacent. We are going to take off Barrett now. Callum Russell is the man who's going to get the nod to come on. Not based on any knowledge of him as a player, but just because he's the one who's recommended. Coming on to make his 50th England cap, so at least it's an experienced body coming in there as well, alongside Nixon Burke, who is looking to establish himself as the kind of player who goes on to get that kind of level of caps. Sarmiento. I forgot he was in the Colombian team. I just saw his name appear. He just got a yellow card. So that's 3 of my boys. We know the Colombian team better than this one, because if Gomez comes on as well, that's 4 of my Bourne boys playing against this England team that's only got Cook and Nixon Burke. I should be Colombia manager. Wilson now with the cross. Newell's there. It's 4, although it's not because the referee has called it back. And Newell's going to be robbed of a golden boot in this tournament with all the disallowed goals. He keeps drifting offside. For a man who's scored well over 100 goals for England, you think he'd know how to stay onside, but he seems to be really struggling with the concept. So he's probably first in line to be the next man to come off. With Nifsi sat there on the bench, who scored a couple of goals against Iran when we looked like we were very much in danger early on in this tournament. If I'd have known 2 players made it through at that point, I wouldn't have worried. Diallo's taken a knock as well. So we're going to bring Emmanuel on for him. Emmanuel's come on in every game so far, I think. So we've made all our substitutions now. So any more fitness issues start to become a big problem. At this point, with us 3-0 up and hopefully not being in any kind of danger, at this point, there's nothing that would make me happier than for Colombia to bring on Christian Gomez and for him to score against England. Just as a way to say goodbye. He's certainly getting a big handshake and a hug after this game. In fact, they've made all their substitutions. They've not brought him on, which is devastating, because I would have loved to have seen him one more time. He only started 2 games for Burnley in the Premier League this season, just gone. He's 30 years old now, and I wonder if maybe his pace has fallen off a little bit and they consider him finished. But it's weird that they've now started calling him up into the Colombia squad, because for so many years he couldn't get a call-up. And that was when he was on fire. Now he's scored like 8 goals in 5 years. All of a sudden, he's at a World Cup with him. International football baffles me. But it doesn't matter, because we're in the World Cup quarter-final, which we'll be seeing tomorrow. Who are we playing? Denmark. That feels winnable. 18th in the world. Colombia were ranked 24th in the world, I think. In fact, should we just check? That might have been Morocco who were 24th in the world. Where are Colombia? Colombia are 17th in the world. So actually, Denmark are a team, theoretically, not as good as the team we've just comfortably beaten. Barrett is probably going to miss at least a quarterfinal, maybe a semi-final as well. So that might be the end of his World Cup, unless we make it through to the final. But quarterfinal and hopefully semi-final coming up for you tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.